Hey guys, I was muted, but how are we today? I I get confused because I don't do the countdown anymore because StreamYard changed the music and I don't like it anymore. So I'm gonna have to find some more music for that. That's for sure. How are you guys today? I So much has happened since we were here last week, like with Sudiksha. Oh man, so much has happened with that case. And you guys, for the good update at the end, you guys know if something important comes up that I have to share about that just came out, like when I had to share about Miss Belva and stuff like that, I do it at the beginning. Well, I was gonna do that today about a missing woman from Rhode Island, but she was found. So that's gonna be at the end for our good stories. So how are you guys today? Wolfie, it's good to see you, and Aaron, it's good to see you too. Hey Neat Noodle, how are you? It's good to see all you guys. So the last live that we had was about Sudiksha, right? And I made it clear that, hey, Alma, good to see you. How are you? Um, that I really didn't know what happened, and I wanted people to still look for her either way. And I told both, both quote unquote sides. But guys, after that live, they said that Joshua, he wanted a habeas corpus hearing down in the Dominican. He was saying that he was being quote unquote held against his will, but really what he was staying at the hotel, and he wasn't allowed to leave by himself. He had guards, and the Dominican Republic, they said that it was for his own. You too, Wolfie. You too. Um, Wolfie, you're welcome here. Everybody's welcome here. No problem at all. I think there's just some confusion. What number were you when you had a number beside your name? Wolfie was wanting to unblock. Um, we'll get it figured out. Hey, is hey Eddie, how are you? I missed you. I missed you in this chat. I missed you last week too, but I didn't see you in this chat. Um, but yeah, so after he goes to this hearing, and you guys should have seen me all day long. I was on this channel and that channel, and I was trying to when there's live streams, you can't put closed captions on and translate, and so I was trying to get that figured out all day long. And then I was going to Twitter, and the first it was going to be televised, and there was an interpreter and everything. It was so nice, you guys. She was interpreting right there. And but then the reporters were causing a ruckus, and so all of them got kicked out, and so I had to wait to hear the reporters what they were coming out and saying, but it was in Spanish, so I would have to download it and then upload it privately and then translate it. So it was really, really hard, you guys. Thank you, Aaron. I really like it too. Hey 71, how are you? I had to find something new and springy. Our last one was for fall. And we got a new little doggy too. We got to figure out a new name for her. It reminded me of my little gizmo, and I thought it was really cute. Yeah. Um, hey Trista, how are you? It's good to see you. I don't know why you guys. I have to see when you guys say hello to each other. Some of them aren't showing up. Yeah, I understand that 71. So, you guys, but before the hearing and all of that, it was said that, well, Sudiksha's parents, they wrote a letter to the judge, and they asked for her to be declared deceased. Well, I'll read it to you guys. Um, and it's really sad, you guys. And I really do pray that none of us are ever in their shoes. I really, really do. And not even my worst enemy. I pray that not even my worst enemy is ever in these shoes. Like, for real, for real. So, and this is to the officer in charge, and it says request for legal declaration of death for our daughter Sudiksha Konaki. And this was the day before his court hearing, I think. And it says, Dear Sir or Madam, we Sabarudu Konaki and Sri Devi Konaki, the parents of Sudiksha Konaki, respectfully request the legal declaration of death for our beloved daughter Sudiksha. A 20-year-old student at the University of Pittsburgh tragically went missing on March 6, 2025 during a spring break trip to Punta Cana, Dominican Republic. Following an extensive search, Dominican authorities have concluded that Sudiksha is believed to have drowned. Her clothes were discovered on a beach near where she was last seen. The individual last seen with her is cooperating with the investigation, and no evidence of foul play has been found. But if you guys remember this, hey Nicole, thank you for coming by. Yeah, you guys, please be sure to check out Nicole's. We have their Facebook page where they do missing flyers of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. That's what that abbreviation stands for. If you guys ever see it, yep, see, she has it in her name. So please check that out and share everywhere that you can. It says, given these circumstances and after much deliberation, we request that the police department proceed with the legal declaration of her death. We understand that certain legal procedures must be followed and are prepared to comply with any necessary formalities or documentation. Initiating this process will allow our family to begin the grieving process and address matters related to her absence. While no declaration can truly ease our grief, we trust that this step will bring some closure and enable us to honor her memory. We appreciate your attention to this deeply painful matter and are grateful for your support. Should you require any further information or documentation, please contact us. So they sent this in the day before Joshua's habeas corpus hearing, and it was 5 hours long, and his dad was called to testify and things like that. And basically what they decided was that he didn't have to stay at the hotel anymore, because really if they have you in custody, quote unquote, they have to press charges within 48 hours. And he was saying that hey Heather Bratt, how are you? So they hadn't charged him. So they said that he didn't have to be under guard anymore, basically. But they didn't give him his passport to return back to the United States either. There was big confusion, and what I could gather was the prosecutor said that they didn't have it, and it was a kerfuffle. And well, in the holler we say a cluster. It was a cluster basically, but the U.S. consulate, they did give him a new passport to leave. But when he was at, I don't know if it was the first airport or like where he made his next stop, the Dominican Republic hadn't stamped it right. So he was taken into custody there for a little bit too. But he is now back in the United States. And I watched a video last night that that Tanya had on Titanium Built. Hey, Chrissy, good to see you. How are you? And Teacup Kraken, good to see you. And so she played this video, and the sheriff from Virginia, where Sudiska was from, he said that he couldn't comment on certain things because the investigation was still ongoing. So I guess there's still an investigation, but you guys, that day after court, and they said that Joshua wasn't charged and he didn't have to stay. And after he left and after her parents wrote this letter, there was no longer searches at the beach for her. Alma says, Mo, did you hear about the second unaliving that just happened where Emily Pike was found? I did, Alma, and I'm going to show you guys about that too. But the one that I heard about happened in 2021. But is there another one that just happened where she was found? Oh, my goodness. So that I wanted to just clear that up with you guys, because that's what we went over last week was Sudiska. And now I wanted to, and you guys, freaking StreamYard just took my background again. What the world? I pay a lot of money for this, and they're going to take my background. It won't even let me have a picture sometimes. I'm going to send them another very stern email, and then I'm going to find somewhere else to buy my streaming services. But anyways, guys, so since we talked about Emily 2 weeks ago, there's been a lot that's been going on in her case, and let me get us there. It's every time I share screen and then come back, it's like it messes up. I don't know. All right, let me come back and get you guys. Okay, so since we were here last time, the same day that we did our live, Sarah Turney did a her podcast, which is Voices for Justice, I believe. She did a podcast about Emily too, so that's good. And then Court TV covered Emily's case on the 15th, and then recently on Friday, Nancy Grace did an episode for Emily, and it's not on YouTube yet, but you can watch it free on Merit TV on their website. And I watched it, you guys, and that's why I changed my title, because I was going to show pieces of it to you guys, but really there was none of it that I wanted to show, and it was very, very disappointing because in one part, she used the wrong terminology, and I know the accidents happen and stuff, but you guys know Vanessa, our moderator and our friend. I tried really, really hard to know the correct terminology about things so I'm not disrespectful or accidentally disrespectful, which I understand things do still mess up. But she's got a lot more. She's got a paid Vanessa, somebody that she pays high dollar for. And so they should have told her that term wasn't correct, so that upset me. And then, so I got exasperated, and I didn't want to show that to you guys anymore, but I have a lot more to show you today. But so the first thing that I thought we could do was watch her, what they did on Court TV for her. And I'm so happy, you guys, that Emily's case is getting more attention. Cases like this, and we know we don't even have to say it, but a lot of cases like this don't get the attention that they deserve. We know that as a fact. We don't need to hide it. We don't need to pretend like it's not happening. It happens all the time. So I am hey, Nature Rocks, I was just talking about you. I said that you teach me a lot. Hey, True Crime Karen, it's good to see you. Well, happy birthday to him. Definitely. Yeah, Vanessa, but I was saying that that you helped me a lot with the terminology, and we worked really, really hard to get to not be accidentally disrespectful, even. And that I was upset with Nancy Grace about using that term that we aren't supposed to use anymore. And so there wasn't really a whole lot that I wanted to show you guys from that. But we can watch the court TV, and you guys, the spokesperson for Emily's family now is her uncle, and it is her dad's brother. Hey, Music City Mom, how are you? Yeah, and so his name is Allred Pike Jr., and it's her dad's brother. And I learned another thing, you guys. Emily is named after his grandma, so Emily's great grandma. So I thought that was cool to hear. And he wrote a few things on his Facebook. He's in this video, but I wanted to tell you guys what he said first. This was 2 days ago. And he said, the pain of losing a loved one by a mother or father is a very painful ordeal. To lose a loved one in the way my niece was taken is beyond immeasurable. There have never been any animosity to anyone from the Pike family. The pain of dealing with such tragedy as losing my niece in such a manner is unbearable. My brother currently does not have a voice. My family asked me to take on the burden of speaking on his and their behalf. This is not something I wanted nor enjoy doing. Each time I tell her story, I relive what she went through. It takes a toll on me, but yet also I understand that her story must be told. Her story is bigger than the reservation. She has become a symbol for the hope, for justice, not just for herself, but for every missing and murdered Indigenous Native American. When I speak, I do it in honor of her. I do it to be the voice of my family. Nothing has taken as much a toll on me as being my family's spokesman regarding my niece's death. Sleepless nights, long days answering questions, but yet having so little answers. Being asked why she ended up in a group home, to be asked questions that only investigators may know the answers to. It is a difficult time in which we may be able to help, yet are left in the dark. We may be able to help carry the burden in the days to come, yet are unable due to a grievance held against us that we do not know or understand. Please keep all involved in your prayers for peace of mind and guidance from up above in this difficult time. So I'm not sure exactly what that means, but it sounds like a little something is going on, and I really do hope and pray that it's not two sides of the family that aren't on the exact same page. You all feel me? Yeah, so I'll pull this. Cutie Pie, good to see you. Long time no see. So he was also in the Nancy Grace episode. So that's why I wanted to read that from him, you guys. And now he's in this Court TV episode 2. I'll share it with you guys too. Yeah, but I'm so glad that her case is, her aunt, I believe it was her aunt said that Emily has sparked a fire, and now the whole world's ignited to help. And I thought that was really sweet too. It's a good analogy.
Welcome back. This morning, we're giving a voice to victims like 14-year-old Emily Pike. She was found murdered, her body parts in trash bags on the side of the road outside of Phoenix, Arizona. Her brutal murder is sending shockwaves through her San Carlos Apache community where she was living. Emily was living in a group home at the time that she ran away in January, and hikers discovered her remains a couple weeks later. She was found in eastern Arizona, and her family is devastated.
And we don't know at this time, who is responsible. But I do know they mess with the wrong people. We are not going to be quiet. This is not going to, we want justice, and we're not going to be quiet until we get it.
Several vigils have been held to honor Emily Pike.
Guys, I do want to quickly mention that they have opened a new portal specifically for Emily's case, and that link is in my description, and the numbers are at my banner scrolling across the bottom of the page. They have started a task force, and there's also a $75,000 reward. So all of these make me so happy, you guys. I was afraid that her case was going to go to the wayside like so many others, you know. So yeah, so I just wanted to mention that.
And to bring visibility to missing and murdered Indigenous people. Emily's killer is still out there this morning. Let's talk about how we get justice for Emily. I have two very special guests I want to welcome in. They got up very early this morning to be with us, and we're so grateful for that. Emily's uncle, Allred Pike Jr., is with us, and Mary Kim Titla is with us as well, who knows Emily's family and who's also the executive director of the organization United National Indian Tribal Youth. Welcome to you both. Allred, I'd like to begin with you, if I may, please. And might I just start by saying, on behalf of everyone at Court TV, we are so sorry for your loss. Allred, tell us about your niece, Emily, please.
Emily was just a teen, you know. She was learning how to do her makeup. She was full of life. She was a happy young girl, you know, no matter what the circumstance, you know, she smiled. And all the pictures that are out there, you could see that beautiful smile of my niece. And that's the perfect example of who she was. She was always smiling.
Sunshine, just a picture of sunshine. When I look at the photos of her, that's how I would imagine her, Allred. Mary Kim, you're also a member of the San Carlos Apache tribe that Emily belonged to. What can you tell us about the sentiment among the members of the community learning of Emily's murder?
This has been outrageous for us. It's been heartbreaking. We're going through all the phases of grief along with the family. Many of us, know the extended family and the relatives, and the fact that she is from our tribal community.
Guys, there is not a lot of research done, so you can't get the correct numbers. But I heard that Indigenous women are 10 times more likely to be murdered. And I also read that 4 out of 5 experience violence, and those are the ones that are truthful and aren't scared to say. So I don't know if we can get good numbers on that or not. And I also heard that in 2016 there was a study that there was about 6,000 missing women, and that was in 2016. So I would say there's even more now, way more. So it's a problem that isn't talked about often, and I'm so glad that it's being talked about more. If anything good can come from such a tragedy as this, I'm glad for any good.
Brings it to another level. It makes it more personal. We all have suffered some sort of trauma in our lives due to, the historical and generational trauma that we've experienced in our history. And many of us, others, including my own family, we have our own relatives who've gone missing and were found murdered. So we are experiencing, the sad. And we feel for the family very deeply. There's been an outpouring in our community surrounding the family, to support the family, to show solidarity and to show that we care. So people are coming together to walk and to have vigils and to march. And they're creating posters and T-shirts, and it's really been amazing to see that. We are alarmed at what happened, and everyone wants justice.
Yes, Mary Kim, and might I say, On behalf of all of us, we are sorry for the losses you've experienced. I understand you've had 3 relatives go missing, and we are so sorry for 3 female relatives, I should say, that you've experienced that. And when you come from that place of understanding and trauma, this just hits so much harder. Allred, tell me, when we think back, I'm sure you've gone over these facts of Emily's case in your mind zillions of times. We understand that she ran away from the group home. She had run away before. We understand police were called. What do you think?
Guys, I had watched a video about her missing persons report, but I didn't actually find the report until this morning. So we're going to look at that after this, and we're going to see what else it says. There's some more things in there that we didn't know before.
Think might have happened? Do you think that somebody could have been trying to lure her? Do you think that she was targeted by someone trying to get her out of that group home and out of the safe place she was in and to do her harm?
That's a very the possibilities there for someone to lure her out. I mean, from Mesa to where she was found is a good 80-mile drive. So from where she was at to where she ended up is way out there in the middle of nowhere. So questions kind of come up. How did she end up all the way back close to the reservation borders? Who would be able to do something like this? You know, is it somebody local? Is it that somebody from the valley bring her back down towards close to the reservation? The questions are out there. How, why? You know, it's just frustrating that we're not getting any answers at the moment.
Right. I'm sure it's incredibly frustrating. We know, Mary Kim,
on the Nancy Grace episode, he is speaking on there too. And remember, we heard that when they first spoke to her mother, that they told her they had 3 persons of interest. Well, now they're kind of backtracking on that and saying they don't have any persons of interest. So I think that the family is upset about that, and I don't blame them at all.
we know that the Department of Child Safety has opened up an inquiry into that group home where Emily was living. And we know that there's also a legal push in the House of Representatives right now with a bill to try to change the Amber Alert system to make sure that it includes Indigenous people. Your thoughts on these 2 components, please?
It's very important to have an Amber Alert for missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. We know that this is an epidemic. Indigenous women have the highest rates when it comes to missing and murdered Indigenous or people. And so this is very important. We want to make sure that this doesn't happen again. There have been too many cases, and we're very concerned, that if someone else goes missing, what's the response time? We all know that there were so many things that went wrong in this particular case, and the family was not notified very quickly. The tribal community did not learn about this issue until a week or 2 later, and it's very alarming. So having an Amber Alert is very important. To address this issue, it is widespread, and we've have others in our.
I forgot to tell you guys too that DCS was open in a license inquiry into that group home, and they said they don't believe the group home did anything wrong in this instance, but I'll be glad to see what they come up with, because like I said, you guys, there's so many in this area, and so many bad stories come from them, and not a lot of encouraging stories, saying that they helped and things like that. So if there is a lot of success stories from these group homes, I would like to hear about them.
Our community that are still missing and have not been found. And what's really alarming is that the perpetrator or perpetrators in this case are still on the loose. So obviously, there is some level of fear in the community. They're still out there. And again, Emily deserves justice. The family deserves justice, deserve closure.
Yes, they sure do. We're going to continue following the case. I want to have you both back on again sometime soon. Mary, Kim, Allred, thank you both so much for talking about this very important.
71 says, I think she met the wrong person and had been sneaking out for weeks to hang out with them, and that group home wasn't taking care of the running away situation. Yeah, that is a very good observation. And see, guys, now my background's back. So what happened? I didn't change not one thing. Not one thing. Yeah. Oh, brother. Okay, there I am. But they did that out. I learned that there was 80 calls of service to this specific group home, and over 3 years. And out of those, there were Emily was reported she ran away 3 times in 2023, and then the time in January, the last time. And I'll show you guys more about those statistics when we get there. Now I wanted to tell you guys what the manager of the group home, what she says. And then, guys, pay attention to what she says here, because there's one thing that I caught that I don't think it was truthful. And I haven't looked over Emily's missing persons report yet, but we'll look over that next and see if she was truthful on there too. This news station asked questions, and the group home manager answered. They're not on video, but and there's one thing that I caught.
Crime Arizona exclusive. We have some new information and insight into the hunt for a child killer. A 14-year-old girl's body was found off the U.S. 16-year globe back on Valentine's Day. The murder remains unsolved.
14-year-old Emily Pike was last seen alive at a group home in Mesa tonight. The manager of that home is answering our questions. True crime correspondent Brianna Whitney live with us here with the details that you only see on Arizona's Family. Interesting that they're talking about this.
I mean, there have been so many questions from the public, the community on social media, and they know people want answers. Last week, we learned that 30 kids had gone missing from this group home in the past 3 years. That number was alarming to a lot of our viewers, and that is just one of the questions I had.
So for the 80 calls of service, there were 30 kids reporting missing. There was 30 missing reports taken. And out of those 30, it was 18 different kids. I wrote that in my notes. So that's good to remember. And they're going to ask her if all of the reported missing kids were found. And the manager says, we know where they all are. But there's one that I'm not too sure about. We'll talk about that one too.
For the group home's manager.
Say her name, Emily!
And we don't get no justice!
The calls for justice have only grown louder for 14-year-old Emily Pike.
I wanted to say that I miss you so much.
A Native American teen found dismembered off the US 60 in eastern Arizona on Valentine's Day. Mesa police confirmed she ran away from a group home on January 27th. We learned more than 24 kids had gone missing from that home, and Emily had run away before as well. The group home manager now answering our questions for the first time. I asked, is it mandatory to report the kids missing when they leave? The manager's response: yes, the group home must report all children as missing, even if they leave to go to the store without permission. Majority of our reports are regarding the same child leaving without permission. When a kid runs away, why doesn't staff go search for them? The manager responded, we have been known to call Mesa police and stay on the phone and follow our children until police assist us, which is always immediately when our children are a danger to themselves or others. This is one we've heard.
And where they said mainly when the children are a danger to themselves or others, and they give an example in the article that says when they try to run out into traffic and things like that. These children have mental health. That's why I remember, that's why they told us that Emily moved to this group home, because there was better mental health services than she could get where she was from. So that's one thing they definitely need to work on here, better mental health services, in my opinion, because there has to be a reason that all these children want to leave.
Heard from viewers. Are there 30 kids missing? How many of those are accounted for now or came back? The group home manager said, no, there are not 30 missing children from our home. All of our children who have been reported missing have been accounted for. Those children who did not return to the home were placed in other facilities. The manager went on to say the kids run away for many different reasons. Sometimes they miss their family and friends. Sometimes they aren't used to rules and structure or have mental health conditions. The manager said their staff and the children in the group home have been interviewed by authorities in Emily's murder investigation, and they are actively working with investigators. Because of public backlash against them, the group home manager says they are worried for the kids' safety. The group home manager said, this is traumatic for all of us. Our lives.
You guys know, when a lot of times when children go missing, or especially when they're found murdered, that the other children are removed from the home just for the time being until they find out exactly what's going on. And I don't see why they didn't do that here, especially since the home is being investigated by DCS. So I never thought that they would allow the children to stay there still. I don't know. What do you guys think about that?
Lives have been changed forever. We are hurting. People on the internet have been horrible. They have somehow forgotten that there is a killer out there.
The Department of Child Services confirmed today they have opened a licensing inquiry into the group.
Okay, I take big offense to that. None of us have forgotten that there's a killer out there. None of us have. Every time I share about any case, when the perpetrators aren't caught, I say, please pray that the perpetrator or perpetrators are caught ASAP before they can hurt anyone else. None of us have forgotten that. We want them caught before they can hurt anybody else, number one. And then we also want them caught because Emily and her family deserves justice. That's highly offensive to me.
Group home to determine whether they took the appropriate steps during this incident. But a DCS official said they do not believe anything the group home did caused the terrible outcome in this case. We have the full Q&A with the group home manager on azfamily.com, and we'll bring you more of it on the news at 6.
Can you explain a little bit more about how this works? It's for children, but it's not a jail. They can't just keep them locked inside, correct?
Right. It's not a situation like that. So if a kid decides to run away on their own, they have to initiate the report. And the group home manager was saying they would be on the phone with Mesa Police until police take over that investigation. But ultimately, the police do. This isn't a jail. They can't keep them inside. And these kids, unfortunately, do AWOL quite often. This is a common issue for the group homes. And so they're trying their best to make sure that these kids are safe. A lot of them coming from our reservations here in Arizona. This specific group home tends to a lot of our Native American kids. And a lot of times it's for better resources to be here in the Valley, mental health resources, schooling, things like that. But right, they can't physically keep them there. And the manager said, and this is in our Q&A online, they also are a hands-off facility. They can't touch the children either and barricade them or anything like that. And so it's a tough position when you have some of these teens that may feel like they don't want to follow structured rules, or they miss their family, or they miss their friends. But it's put this group home in a pretty tough position. They're already struggling with the grief of losing Emily, and they're distraught about that.
but they also are dealing with the onslaught of public scrutiny, and they wanted to be able to respond to some of that.
And only so much.
Okay, so now, see guys, now every time I do that, my background leaves. I sent StreamYard a message, and they said that the creator chat, the whichever email that I sent to them, that they don't keep that chat line open communication anymore. So now I'm going to have to find another email to get that fixed. It just bugs me. I get stuck on little things and that bugs me. But now so we heard from the group manager. So now let's look over Emily's missing persons report. They said that the missing persons report is closed. The missing is closed, of course, but now they of course have the homicide case still open. So let me find that for you guys. So I haven't looked at this yet, so we're going to be looking at this together and see what it says. So reported on January 27th, 2019. The time is 2019, and it occurred on the 27th at 1900 hours. So about an hour and 20 minutes later, they called, looks like. And it says gang involvement, no gang relation. And then it gives her stats, 5'7", brown. Linkage factors, age range, 65 to 98 years. That's kind of weird. Linkage factors, I don't know. So let's see. Subject type, juvenile, other, runaway from group home. No clothing description. So it says digital recording statement. It should be noted during this investigation, I was wearing an officer body camera, and the following is a summary of statements and observations made during the investigation and not direct quotes unless noted. Any breaks or lapse of this video is due to either speaking with an on-scene officer or an unintentional delayed start of the video. The digital video file was downloaded and stored at evidence.com for further information and details. So there is a body cam. Trista says, I just hope they find out who did this. It has to be somebody she knows from that group home, in my opinion. Yeah, but a video that we saw last time, it was a retired FBI agent, I believe, and he said that the perpetrator had to be older because they had to have a car to move her, which does make sense. So they had to be a little older than 14. And also he said that it could be a sexual sadist, in his opinion, and they might have done this before, but he says that they'll definitely keep doing it if they're not caught. So I'm not sure. I think she left and met foul play afterwards, of course. Tony, good to see you. How are you? 71 says if they had cell phones and internet in that group home, it could be anybody. Yeah, very true. Remember, her roommate said that she had been taking guitar lessons and she went out to meet that fella. So hopefully, surely they've talked to him, hopefully. So it says, at approximately 2019 hours, I responded to, for a missing person call for service. Call comments indicated a juvie AWOL approximately 30 minutes prior. I spoke with the reporting party, who was identified as Kathy Montano with her MVD photo. Kathy is the manager for the group home at the dispatch location. Kathy indicated that one of her clients left out her bedroom window and has not returned. The window's screen was pushed out from the inside. Kathy stated that blank has ran away several times in the past, so Emily. Kathy did not indicate any exigent circumstances. She was described as a 14-year-old native female, approximately 4 feet 10 inches, 115 pounds, with medium length brown hair. How little, you guys. How itty bitty. And somebody would hurt her and then disrespect her remains in that way. It's awful. It says she does not have a cell phone and was last seen wearing a pink and gray shirt. So here they didn't know what she was wearing. So, let's see. Kathy indicated last time Emily ran away, she was located near Fitz Park. My area check was negative at Fitz Park. In the video that I watched, it said that they didn't check Fitch Park for a few days. So it sounds here like they just went there. So I don't know. It says Kathy provided a picture of Emily that was attached to the call for service and submitted to records. I contacted Mesa Police Records and spoke with records specialists who assisted with entering Emily into NCIC as a missing person. And he contacted Sergeant and updated him with the details of the case. This ended my involvement in this case, and I have nothing further to report. So this is the supplemental narrative, and we've seen this in a few cases before. So that was the initial, and this is next. It says, please note this is a supplemental narrative, and I am not case agent. My involvement is minimal, and I have no knowledge of the final outcome of this case. Please see original narrative for further clarifications. And it says on 2/19/25. So this is, remember, she was found on the 14th. So this was after that. She went missing on January 27th. Her remains were found on the 14th. So this was 5 days after that. It says at approximately 20:02 hours. I'm not good with numbers and military time, but it says I responded to a call for service reference and agency follow-up. Call comments stated the reporting party was with the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Additional call comments stated the reporting party had a Jane Doe he believed to be a missing Mesa juvenile. The missing juvenile was said to possibly be Emily. So they had gotten a call. I believe that it was to the reservation, and they believed they had seen Emily there. So wonder what this was about, you guys. Somebody really thinking they saw Emily, or they wanted to throw somebody off the trail that she was really missing, or what? We hadn't heard about this before. This was the first time. And it says, upon arrival, I contacted Agent Summers from the Bureau of Indian Affairs Homicide Unit. Agent Summers advised a female believed to be Emily were located within the Gila County Indian Reservation. Agent Summers stated the missing juvenile flyer distributed by the Mesa Police Department. Agent Summers asked me for contact information to the Mesa Police Homicide Unit as to share information and aid in the investigation led by Gila County. I immediately notified Sergeant Bailey of the above mentioned via cellular phone and provided him with Agent Summers' contact information. I ended the phone call and advised Agent Summers the Mesa PD Homicide Unit would be contacting him. Agent Summers said he understood and I cleared. This concludes my involvement. So this was the next one is on March 12th. It says on 1/28/25, I received this case for further investigation and review for missing 14-year-old female Emily. 8:02. Thank you, Brad. 8:02. So what's this one? At 10:12 hours. So 10:12 in the morning, right? I contacted Lisa at the blank. She advised me that Emily was still missing and it was unknown where she could be. I asked Lisa about any medical conditions or concerns for Emily, and she stated that Emily was on medication for mental health and behavioral issues. She also provided me with contact information for blank San Carlos Apache Tribe case manager Lori Good. I then contacted Lori, and she confirmed that Emily had a history of behavioral and mental health concerns. She did not know any possible locations for Emily at this time. On 1/29/25, I received a voicemail from Lisa that she responded to the Rock Teen Center in Mesa, where Emily had gone in the past. So this was 2 days after she went missing, and they had not seen or heard from Emily since she left the group home. At 1500 hours, I reached out to Lisa, and she said Emily was still missing and there was no new information on her whereabouts. At 1535 hours, I sent a missing persons bulletin for blank to law enforcement statewide and requested a hospital alert to all local hospitals via Mesa PD Communications Center. On 2/11/25, so a few days before Emily's remains were found, at 10:53 hours, I contacted Lisa for any new information regarding Emily. She told me that the group home received a voicemail on 2/7/25, so 7 days before her remains were found, from an unknown person stating Emily was with her mother on the San Carlos reservation, according to a Facebook post. So they had thought that they had seen Emily, and then this person is sending a voicemail. Lisa did not have Emily's mother's information. So did they not have her mother's information either? At 10:58 hours, I called Lori and requested information on Emily's mother regarding the anonymous tip. Lori advised me that she had spoke to Emily's mother, Stephanie Dos Salas. Stephanie told her that Emily was not at her residence and the Facebook post was an old post. According to Lori, Stephanie said she had not heard from Emily and appeared to be worried about her. So when did they first contact her mother? Surely do you all think that on 2/7, we heard that it was a week, so that would be about a week. So it seems to be the first time they contacted her. Lori stated that she could go back to Stephanie's residence with San Carlos Apache Tribal Police to verify Emily was not there. Lori also emailed me the San Carlos Apache Police Department report and the order of authorization and consent filed with the San Carlos Apache Children's Court. On 2/20/25 at 7:22 hours, I called Lori and left a voicemail for her to call me regarding any new information regarding Emily's whereabouts. At 11:20 hours, I reached out to Lisa at the group home, who told me that the tip she originally said came in on 2/7/25 was actually sent to the group home on 2/25 at 10:19 hours by an unknown female. Okay, so that's 5 days. She waited 5 days, and then they were mistaken about what day that it came in. Oh, that's worrisome, you guys. That's really worrisome. On 2/27/25, I was contacted by Mesa PD homicide detective Ingram, who informed me that Emily was positively identified by Gila County Sheriff's Office as a homicide victim in their jurisdiction. Detective Ingram advised me to have Emily removed from the missing person database as he was continuing to assist Gila County with their investigation. At 16:55 hours, I canceled the missing persons bulletin. She was cleared from NCIC as a missing person. Missing persons case is closed, and the investigation for her homicide is ongoing at this time. Wow, we learned a lot from this, you guys. A whole lot from this. 71 says, sounds like they don't put the time into that community. That's exactly what it sounds like. So now that we've seen what happened when she first went missing, and we heard the case manager answer questions, now I want to show you guys a video about another missing girl who has been missing since last year. And the link to her missing flyer is at the top. It's the pinned comment. So if you guys could share that, I would greatly appreciate that. Now I'll get that video for you guys. I'm coming, guys. Just 1 second. So remember that the manager said that all the kids were accounted for, right? Well, not this one. Not this one.
Investigation into the murder of 14-year-old Emily Pike continues. We're uncovering more about the Mesa group home where she was living before she was killed. Good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. For 12 News at 10, I'm Kariva Devine.
I'm Mark Curtis. Thanks for joining us. Emily Pike went missing from the home in late January. And tonight, we're learning another teen from that same group home has been missing now for nearly a year.
12 News journalist Bianca Bono is joining us live from the newsroom to explain. Bianca?
Well, shortly after Pike's remains were found, we learned from Mesa police that they had taken 30 missing persons reports stemming from that same group home over the past 3 years. So we asked if any of those cases remain open today, and we learned that one does. According to the Mesa Police Department, another teenage girl is missing from the same group home where Emily Pike was living before she was murdered and has been missing for close to a year. Emily Pike was last seen in January in the area of McKellips Road and Mesa Drive after leaving the group home. And on Valentine's Day, the 14-year-old girl's remains were discovered in trash bags an hour and a half away in a remote area near Globe. After Pike's horrific death, Mesa police confirmed over the past 3 years, they've taken 30 missing persons reports involving residents of that same group home, and one of those residents remains missing to this day. 17-year-old Veronica Cruz was last seen on May 18th last year around 4:55 p.m.
And that's the only picture that I have for her, too. When you click the link at the top of the chat, that'll take you to NCMEC. And that's the only photo that they have of her there, too. And I'm not sure if it's in this video or the article I read, but the case manager said she knows where Veronica is, and she'll be 18 next month. So, but she can't let investigators know where she is and see her. Basically, what it sounds like to me was that she's going to be 18 next month, so not their problem anymore.
Reported missing by group home staff. Her photo and information featured on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's website. But despite that, when 12 News reached the group home's CEO for comment about Cruz's whereabouts, she said she believes Cruz is safe, though she does not know who Cruz is with or where she is. She added that Cruz turns 18 next month. When 12 News followed up with Mesa police asking about...
See, guys, she knows she's safe, but she doesn't know who she's with or where she is. And she followed up, gave freely that she'll be 18 next month. I did not like that whatsoever. It was very gross.
About the CEO's statement, a police spokesperson said an investigator needs to physically see that Cruz is okay before changing any case status. And due to her age, which is still 17, she would have to be taken to her guardian and not just released. Mesa Police encourages anyone with information about her whereabouts to call them and let them know. And I did follow up with the group home CEO asking if any efforts are being made to get Cruz back into the care of either the home or a guardian. She has not responded to that question. DCS has opened a license.
She responded to other questions, though, right? Why didn't she respond to that one? Heather Bratt says you don't know who she's with, yet you know she's safe. Make that make sense. I know, right? No sense whatsoever. And I still go back to when we heard those questions that she asked. She said all of them were safe, right?
Licensing inquiry to determine whether appropriate steps were taken by that group home in Emily Pike's case. Now, back to the Pike investigation. A task force has now been created consisting of local and federal law enforcement agencies that are investigating her death. They've also now set up a centralized tip line, which you can find on our website, 12news.com. Bianca Bono, 12 News.
All right.
Let me show you guys this too. So let me see here. So I took this from the article. We watched the video, but this was the article. And it says, this was the group manager, and they asked her, are there 30 kids missing? How many of those are accounted for now or came back? And she said, no, there are not 30 missing children from our home. All of our children who have been reporting missing have been accounted for. Those children who did not return to the home were placed in our facilities for many different reasons, in other facilities for many different reasons, including a higher level of care for their safety. Safety always comes first. Well, did they forget about Veronica? Did they forget about Veronica? You all feel me? So I'm still upset about that for sure. And now I want to tell you guys about, remember that Emily was found 100 miles from the home around Globe, Arizona. And it was around mile marker 277, and it's a turnoff there. Well, this is 31-year-old Leo Harry White, and he was found in this. I think this is the case that Alma was talking about, that was found at that same road, at that same exact mile marker. And he was 31 years old, and he had 6 kids, you guys. He had 4 girls and 2 boys. And he was the only boy out of either side of his family. He had 2 older sisters, I believe. And it said that he liked to do anything outside. He liked to go driving on the back roads and things like that. And he was very, very loved. And his murder still remains unsolved. And I just thought that what a coincidence for, and really, guys, all I found was articles saying that it was a homicide, that there was somebody called for a welfare check on a vehicle that was in that turnaround, and he had been shot multiple times. And that's basically all I saw until very, very recently. So I wanted to show you guys that there's 2 videos that came out, and if Emily's death also brought, well, it wasn't a death, it was a horrendous murder, but if that brings about more attention to Leo's case too, that's great too. So I wanted to show you guys this video too. It shows a little bit more of the area where both of them were found.
Emily Pike's remains were recovered nearly 100 miles away from where she was last seen alive. And tonight we have learned it's not the first time that same area has been the site of a murder investigation. Could the cases be connected? Here's true crime correspondent Brianna Whitney.
We are right off the US 60 at milepost 277. This is where you go to start to get where 14-year-old Emily Pike's remains were found. And you can see here people have been out here bringing flowers, showing signs of support. But now we know in 2021, a Native man was found dead right here too, down to the same exact milepost, and confirmed tonight his murder is still unsolved too. I want to show you how close together these 2 crime scenes are. That's the US 60 behind me. We're now on Forest Service Road 355, and it's here that Gila County Sheriff's officials tell us this is where Emily Pike's remains were found. They tell us the 14-year-old's remains were discovered by people who were walking, hiking on this trail here, and that's who called police. Now we know they were found down here dismembered in contractor trash bags. Her hands and her arms are still missing. It's been more than a month now since they have been discovered. I talked to the Gila County Sheriff's Office today. Their officials and detectives tell me they're making progress in this case, but right now there are still several important unknowns they're trying to figure out.
We don't have a weapon. We've not recovered any kind of weapon.
They still also don't have her cause of death. But guys, remember that I don't think we would have even known any of this. That internal memo was leaked from the Gila County Sheriff's Office. that told about how badly her remains were found. And trigger warning, I have to tell you guys this again, because I hate these details, but we have to know them. We have to know them. She was found, her head and her torso was in not regular trash bags, but contractor trash bags, and her legs were in another trash bag, and they still haven't found her hands and her arms. Heather Brad, it's okay. I feel you. I feel you 1000%. I have had a little bit more time to digest this because um, I always keep looking into cases, but I found this a few days ago. Well, you guys know, I tell you guys about it, my friends and stuff, when we talk privately. But yeah, I've had a little bit more time to digest it. But yeah, I'm still angry about that. And especially for the manager.
Sorry, could you say that again?
Something just talked. I think it was my watch. I don't know what she's going on about. But especially for that manager of that group home to say, to lie, in my opinion, or like you said, it's semantics. She's saying they all were accounted for, but what about Veronica? And then for her to say the internet has forgotten that somebody is dead. No, we absolutely have not forgotten. Have you forgotten about Veronica? That's the question. That is the absolute question. Hey, FarQ, thank you for coming by. How are you? I know we ain't talking to them, Brat. They need to mind their business.
Cause of death is still under investigation by the ME's office. We're investigating those leads. None of those, as of yet, have pointed us to a definite suspect or person of interest.
The cries for justice for Emily have been loud. Several vigils held in honor of the San Carlos Apache teen who ran away from a Mesa group home she was living at on January 27th. The Gila County Sheriff's Office is getting help from many agencies, including the FBI, and new tonight, they've created an official task force on the case to funnel leads and tips. Well, now we've learned Emily's homicide is not the only one being investigated here. It was back in September of 2021 when the Gila County Sheriff's Office and DPS got a call and found a Native man shot to death multiple times in his car parked right here at milepost 277 off the US 60, just like Emily. Today we learned his murder is unsolved. Here's what we know. Sheriff's deputies identified him as 30.
The same mile marker, you guys, 277. And I thought, how could this be a coincidence? But it is a turnaround right there. And so I think it is a coincidence, but I don't know how we can mention Emily without mentioning Leo White too,
31-year-old Leo Harry White, a man from White River. He was found by DPS troopers and deputies after somebody called in a welfare check for the car in the pullout area. The detective telling me today there are some leads in his case, but no arrests in his murder either. Officials with the sheriff's office say there is one very key difference between Emily Pike and Leo White's murders.
It is a little different, and in that one, it looks like the homicide actually took place there where the subject was found in a vehicle. This one with Emily, of course, we believe that she was killed somewhere else, and then that is where she was dropped off.
For that reason, and because of differences in the crime scenes, sheriff's deputies don't have any reason to believe these two cases are related, even though they are in the same area and they are both open and ongoing. As part of that task force in Emily's case, GCSO is now taking tips on their social media pages, and they hope as people pour in information about Emily's case, maybe somebody will also have a tip about Leo White's murder and cold case too.
That's what we hope to. That's exactly what we hope to. There is one more video that I want to play from Leo's family, and then I'll tell you guys we'll go to the happy story that ended good. This has been a lot. This has been a lot of information to take in, and really, really sad and upsetting. And sometimes that's what we have to go through to get mad and get angry and make a difference too.
Harry White was just 31 years old when he was found shot to death in a vehicle along US 60 east of Globe back in September 2021.
Those words that my mom said to me are like, it's Leo, he's in the morgue in Globe. Like, that just broke my heart.
Elina White is Leo's sister. She says he was her best friend, the only boy in their family, always nice to everyone and humble. His murder devastated the White family.
My family took it hard. My mom took it hard. I took it hard because he's my only brother.
And so I think it was 2 girls and a boy in their family. And then he had 6 kids, you guys. And all I could find about this was literally articles saying that he was found deceased on the side of the road. And that's it until a few days ago when these videos came out.
My dad took it hard because that's his only son.
The Gila County Sheriff's Office says it's a cold case now, but recent coverage of the missing 14-year-old Emily Pike, whose body was found in the same area where Leo was killed, is putting Leo's case back in the spotlight.
I will live for Emily.
There's been renewed attention on missing and murdered Indigenous peoples, both Leo and Pike part of the Native community. In Mesa, on McKellips and Mesa Drive, stands a memorial for Pike. Many still coming here to pay their respects, including Dean Miguel and her family, coming all the way from Tucson.
It's very important because it's part of a sister. She's Native. It don't matter who it is, where she's from.
The Pike case now gaining some national attention. Unity Inc. Executive Director Mary Kim Tetla appearing on the Nancy Grace Show to raise awareness of MMIW. Tetla telling me more still needs to be done.
She was flabbergasted as to why it's not getting more national attention. We're talking about a 14-year-old young girl who was found, with her body dismembered, and it's a horrific case.
Authorities say there are still no suspects or persons of interest in the Pike investigation. For Leo's sister, it's been nearly 4 years, still waiting for justice.
I miss him every day. There's not one day that goes by that I don't think of him and that I don't bring his name up in a conversation.
Josh Cristianto, ABC 15, Arizona. Leo Harry.
Only 31 years old, you guys. And he left 6 kids behind, like I said, his sisters and many, many nieces and nephews. So please help me pray for his case too. And you can also contact the numbers in my description for Leo's case too, you guys. So now we get to the happier part. Like I said at the beginning of this live, I had planned to speak about a missing woman. She's 45 years old from Rhode Island, and she had went missing last Wednesday. And she's autistic and she is nonverbal, but she was found, you guys. Thank God she was found yesterday, I think. I think it was yesterday when I was looking into it. And this is her. Bless her. I'm so very glad she was found. But she was also, I think she was in a group home also in Rhode Island for adults. And she had a caregiver. I'm not for sure if she was in a group home setting or if she lived by herself and had a caretaker. But this is what Cranston, Rhode Island PD said. It said, Colonel Michael J. Lindquist, chief of the Cranston Police Department, has announced that the department continues to actively investigate. So this was before she was found. The disappearance of a developmentally disabled woman reported missing by her caregiver late Wednesday afternoon. The missing woman, 45-year-old Miss Linda DeLomba, resides in a group home in Lincoln. So it was a group home. Another group home, you guys. So that must have been in my algorithm, and that's why this story popped up to me. But it says on March 19th, 2025, at approximately 3:58 p.m., a Cranston woman employed as Miss DeLoma's caregiver reported that she went missing around 2:30 p.m. The caregiver initially claimed that Miss DeLoma disappeared while she was using the bathroom at the Burlington Coat Factory. However, after reviewing hours of surveillance footage, investigators determined that the caregiver and Miss DeLoma were never at the store, proving the account to be false. The caregiver then provided multiple conflicting statements regarding Miss DeLoma's whereabouts. prompting the Cranston Police Department's Special Investigations Unit to take over the case. And the FBI also helped, you guys. Department members have since conducted extensive searches, including aerial and ground operations, but there have been no confirmed sightings of Miss DeLoma. Her photograph has been shared with local news outlets and across the department's social media platforms. A code red alert, reverse 911 system was also activated to notify the public. So it's good that they did this, a code red alert. And they still don't know why the caregiver lied and said that they were at this Burlington coat factory. It says over the past 72 hours, multiple individuals, including people of interest believed to have knowledge of the case, have been interviewed. Several court-authorized search warrants have been executed, including at 2 residences connected to those persons of interest. The FBI has also been assisting in search efforts within the city. The investigation is now classified as a criminal investigation, and we remain committed to locating Ms. DeLoma. The department appreciates the public's support and urges anyone with information, no matter how small, to come forward. And then it leaves the phone numbers. And I watched a lot of videos before she was found, and you could tell that they thought the worst. They thought the worst for Miss Linda. And they did a whole press conference after she was found, and they were so relieved. And they said, we didn't think that this was going to end well. So now I'll play you the video of where she was found.
The search is over. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Sheena Loshudo. The nonverbal autistic woman who was first reported missing by her caregiver on Wednesday has now been found. Her caregiver has been arrested on multiple charges. Tonight, we're hearing from that man who found the missing woman in a car. 12 News reporter Lauren Brill has been tracking that story for us all weekend. She has the very latest from police.
Guys, they found her within 3/4 of a mile in a car, 3/4 of a mile from the group home. This lady had spent days outside. Well, that's what I assume, but I don't know. They're still looking into where she was during all these days. I don't know if she could have stayed outside all these days or not, because it's been really, really cold. Where I live, and I live in Kentucky, it's been really cold here. Well, during the day it's been warm, but at night it's been cold. I forgot to check the weather in Rhode Island. But anyways, if they would have just told where she went missing from in the first place, it's untelling how much sooner she could have been found, you know?
Well, many questions still remain. Cranston police say they're working to figure out exactly how Linda DeLamba ended up in that vehicle after they say her caregiver gave conflicting statements. A community relieved after Linda DeLamba, the 45-year-old woman with autism who went missing earlier this week, was found conscious and alert Sunday afternoon.
I don't know, sense of closure. I just very emotional, I gotta say. You know, I cried when he told me she was alive.
I saw this lady speak in another video, and I think that she used to work with Miss Linda, I think, and they were all upset, her and her other coworkers, and I'm glad that, if this is who I'm thinking of, but I'm glad that Miss Linda had people that loved and cared about her. Well, she still does have them. I'm so glad for that.
The days-long search came to an end here at Pond and Station Streets in Cranston. Savong Sam says he found her in the hatchback area of a vehicle outside his home.
I noticed it was a person sleeping, laying down, in the back of the vehicle. So I was like, wait, maybe it's that missing lady.
He immediately called police. Linda was then taken to Rhode Island Hospital to be evaluated. Now, Cranston police tell us DeLamba's caregiver
Guys, thank God that Miss Linda, that this fella found her. What if it was somebody? We know that vulnerable people like this, that they're very vulnerable and people take advantage of them all the time. So I'm so glad that Miss Linda was found by this fella. And this Roberta right here, that's her quote unquote caregiver. And it was abuse and neglect of an adult with severe impairment, obstruction of an officer, and some more charges, I believe. So I hope that that she gets charged to the full extent of the law.
43-year-old Roberta Gerard was arrested. She's facing charges including abuse and neglect of an adult with severe impairment and obstruction of an officer. Officials say there were a lot of red flags. Gerard has told investigators conflicting statements about where DeLamba was last seen.
So there's a lot of questions of how she could make it, 3/4 of a mile away from the area that we were told where she went missing.
It's still unclear how she ended up in the vehicle. However, investigators believe Linda was in there for an extended period.
And this is a woman that takes insulin, that needs insulin on a regular basis. She can't fend for herself.
Wow, guys, I hadn't heard that before, that she was insulin dependent. This sounds so familiar. If there was somebody else that was missing from Arizona, I believe, that was insulin dependent, that I was telling my friend to be on the lookout for. But this is Rhode Island. This is so weird.
She's severely handicapped. She can only walk a short distance, if that. She has unsteady gait and unsteady balance.
Multiple agencies worked together during this investigation, by air with drones and on the ground with canines. Some members of the community say they were also searching.
That's all I, was worried about, was doing the right thing and getting her, to safety and, back with her family where she belongs.
Now, officials say that Seven Hills, Rhode Island owns a group home that DeLamba lives at. They released a statement saying that they are deeply relieved she was found safe. In Cranston, Lauren Brill, 12 News.
Wow, guys. So I label that folder when I find good stories. It must be a miracle. And that is totally a miracle. Bless Miss Linda's heart. And another group home that is lacking and slacking. Oh my goodness, guys. So that was one of my I was going to try to bring awareness to, but it turned into must be a miracle. So we have to give thanks and praise for that. A big blessing, Heather Bratt. Yes, guys. So I think that that's all I have for you guys today. Could let me drop Vanessa's link, you guys. I'm keeping a lookout on her page for the praying mantises to arrive, to hatch, and to come out. And she's been posting other beautiful pictures to you guys. Please check out her page. Thanks, 71. Thank you guys all so much for coming today to listen to me speak about Emily and Leo and Miss Linda. Thank you guys all so much. And thank you, my friends and moderators that helped me. I couldn't do it without you guys. Yeah. Aaron, you had the same thought too? I remember sending that around, that another autistic lady went missing in Arizona, and she was insulin dependent. I think she was a teenager, though. I'm going to have to look into that. Yeah. So if you guys have any other cases that need to bring awareness, please email me. And, well, thank you for coming, Hippie Chick, as always. Thank you all so much for coming. And if you guys would like to go over anything else or any other cases need awareness, please email me. And I appreciate you all so very much for coming. And don't forget to take your vitamins and say your prayers like always. So yeah. All right. I love you all. Thank you so very much. And I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.